Um, so going back to our conversation, a few months ago, I worked in a school called Catfall. Yeah? That was an independent school, so it was kind of more work experience orientated.
Yep.
Yeah. Did it for about 7 weeks, but it gave me a good insight. So their curriculum, the schooling day started from 9:30 and finished at 2:30.
Oh, okay.
So I understand the syllabuses that they have to do, for example, maths, science, PSHE. So there's certain fulfillment that you have to fulfill in the day. The way they were running was, lovely. So so that kind of made me think about the Boxing Academy and where we're gonna go with it. The thing is, so the school was probably literally the size of this room, width and length. Yeah. This area would be head teacher, come in the door, a few computers on the left, and a few tables at the back that they can sit and followed by a board at the back that obviously they can do the work. School day finished at 3:30 because they met the basic requirements for the syllabuses. So if you wanted to then introduce boxing into that, the school day then extends further, or you start earlier. You see what I'm saying? But I think, I definitely think that boxers, not even just boxers, sports people need to start understanding what the depths of what they're getting into and more see it as a career than anything. And that's why I don't feel it's happening.
The other thing is athlete support. So if you don't have presence or visibility online, you're not able to reach people who might be interested in sponsoring you, might be interested in supporting you as an athlete. You're not known to people. So I think a lot of sponsors, a lot of people is like close relatives, family, friends, where people know they're in boxing or they're in a sport and they're taking it seriously, and they maybe realise some of the hardships and sacrifices where they do put a sponsor behind them.
But I had a boy that come into me the other day. He said, and this is where you have to kind of notice who's serious about this and who's not. It's a shame. I'm moving from Bristol to London. I want to do this properly. I explained to him that 8-year periods. He seemed genuinely serious, but obviously in between that, he's got to obviously understand A, it's a career. Yeah. B, going back to what you were just saying, sponsorship wise, you ideally, if you can get someone to pay you 25 to 30 grand a year, and you're just turning up and you're training, that's a lot of your hard work done.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And something like that is possible because in 5-6 years time, where you're potentially going to be, your sponsors are going to significantly benefit as a result, but they just need to understand that you're serious about what you're doing and you have the right backing and support to get you there. So I do, and obviously bringing it back to the course slash the Boxing Academy slash the schooling, I do think that is something that long term is something that I really want to do, but it's also understanding where I am at the moment and growing into that.
Yeah, for me, I definitely see two sides of what I said to you about this whole thing about it no longer just being about the sport, but actually the business side. And one of the things is, if you separate sponsors, is actually education on social media can be the tool to supplement or complement your training, because if you do have some kind of business mind and you're putting out content, people are getting paid ads. It's really the sort of like two sides, not only helping your your presence and exposure to boxing, but also there's money money earning in, you know, people blowing up overnight kind of thing. So good example is it Freezy? What's his name? Freezy. Emotional Queensbury debut, yeah. So that will really capture people. I mean, there's different aspects to, you know, looking at how do you define a tough man or a boxer in terms of what they do in the ring versus actually how they emotionally speak. But that there's a real mix there. And look at some of the, you know, his presence. He had a good social media presence of different things.
Yeah, because the thing is, I know Freezy and where he was and how he's developed himself over the last few years. Just this is even before his professional career. He's had some interesting sparring and stuff that he's posted online.
But without that, no, imagine if he didn't do. If he no, so the power of it is that his presence and exposure, social media, has definitely aided or helped towards this platform, the presence he has on the platform, and then even the airtime to talk about and capture the audience, because now, you know, the amount of people who would be, they will remember that emotional, you know, coming from nothing, saying about coming here on his own, not talking English. It's quite deep stuff, separate to the boxing. So he's an example of social media is powerful to get you the platform, to get your presence, to get the visibility and eyes on you. That's really, I think, the hardest step, because once you've done that, I mean,
and
Ricky Hatton,
it's also consistency, isn't it?
Ricky Hatton, because of the football, people who they always say football people always buy into boxing, love boxing, but he was not that he was hand given an audience, but because of his passion and love in the pubs for football, this is why he could sell out, stadiums. So if he couldn't sell tickets, he would not have got those high-profile fights that he got. True or not true? There's lots of other boxers that would be there. So he had such a big following, they could not deny that platform, that opportunity to fight the best. Because did he deserve? Did he really deserve? I'm not going to say an average boxer, but a British level boxer, but with a world-class punch. Body shot, bam. Apart from that, his footwork, there's so many flaws in his boxing. You couldn't say he was ever like an equal match for Mayweather, for Pacquiao, but because of the numbers and the support, that's what made it deserve to fight, that it's got big enough backing of people.
And I think also within that, it's also looking at communities as well. You have
Amir Khan is a good example of that.
You have Manchester, you've got Liverpool. Yeah. I think when you think of London, I don't think London has got
not as a city. I think when you say community, it's deeper, because it's not. I don't think it's location, unless it's football. Communities, like I think of Amir Khan, was that if you have one person in your community doing something for the first time or representing, it's a very special, rare moment. So, I think there's definitely certain, but I think if it's done once, it's like now we have loads of Asian boxers or Muslim boxers, but it was like Amir Khan being a real sort of early representation of the UK when it was like in a sort of racist time of we don't support this, we don't support that, and then that really was getting a lot of support to show that diversity, multicultural.
And it shows you topics like that are so important as well.
Amir Khan got lots of treatment because of that. Now, the next Asian boxer isn't getting that same level of attention, pushing out, all the support behind
him. And then also he would have had.
Who was that?
Had a nice. Again, it comes back to your team and your management, because diversity is still something that's being pushed today. But at the same time, how many boxers are you see what I'm saying, pushing towards something like that?
It's like once it gets diluted. So Amir Khan was don't hold me to this, but he's the first standout boxer we had at world amateur level and Olympic level. We don't know if he really deserved to be number one to represent, but wherever he got selected to do that, he was underage. I know that he was underage, so they bend the rules to get him where they want him to get. But it was definitely for a Muslim boxer, it was a really strong standout moment. Now if we say, okay, X number of years later, it's not new because it happened already. So I remember seeing Amir Khan everywhere, every billboard, every bus. Amir Khan was all over the place. They televised his amateur fight when he did a rematch. They televised an amateur fight. They put it on like it was Frank Warren. He put on a mixed show. I think it was professional. They had the head guards or whatever, or vests on. They had an amateur fight, all like built up like a professional fight. And that's before you had the was it the WSL or whatever the WSB, yeah. Before all of that mix, that crossover. Amir Khan, I don't know any bit in the past where they just televised an amateur fight like a pro fight. When are they doing that now? But they did it for him. So they did a lot of stuff. So I think that's the some showing of